Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and welcome to the Karey Carbaugh podcast, episode number 44. Buenas noches, damas y caballeros, chicos y chicas, niños de todas edades, y bienvenidos a el Karey Carbaugh podcast, episodio número 44. Welcome. My name is Karey Carbaugh, and this is the Karey Carbaugh podcast. For those of you that don't know me, I am a person with low vision, and I aim to help people with issues of self-esteem. This is episode number 44. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. I had some technical difficulties, and the universe was trying to keep me from going live once again, but here we are finally. And some of you may have noticed that I was not on last week. I tried a couple of times. I had my friend Bradley. We were on the cruise together still. And 2 weeks ago, we did a live from the cruise ship. I was planning to do so again last week. We had just come through the Panama Canal, and I thought I had service and everything looked great, but when I clicked the live button, it failed. And we tried multiple times, and it kept failing and kept failing. And I did not have good service again until we got back close to the United States. So I didn't even try to do one last week. I'm going to try and do a second one this weekend, so stay tuned for that. It will be at a somewhat random time. I'm going to try and do it around this same time, probably Saturday night. If we don't make it on Saturday, then I'll do it Sunday. I do want to catch us up on podcasts since we missed last week and do 2 this week, so look forward to that. Let me know where you're calling in from, where you're dialing in from. It's always interesting for me to know where people are coming in from. And let me know if you're live or watching this on the replay by dropping the word live or replay in the comments. That's helpful for me to know, too, when people are seeing this. Tonight's episode is probably going to be a bit shorter. I came back from the cruise and have been fighting a cold. I'm not sure how long my voice will hold out. I was doing quite a bit of talking at work today, and after talking for a while, my voice was getting a bit rough. So I'm going to try and get through this one. This is the one I had planned on doing last week, but since that didn't happen, here we are. My plan was to do it from the ship and to do it with the Carnival ship funnel. For those of you who may be familiar with Carnival ships, the whale tail funnel that's kind of the iconic symbol of Carnival was going to be in my background. But since we couldn't do that, here we are. But that's where the topic comes from. Tonight's topic, seizing opportunities, bucket list items. Have you ever had a bucket list item? Let me know that in the comments. Maybe you've been able to check that off your list. Maybe not. Maybe you have several bucket list items. If you'd like to let me know what one of your bucket list items is, or maybe a couple, drop those in the comments too. That would be interesting to see what some people's bucket lists are. And also, let me know if you've been able to check some of those off of your list. This cruise that I just came back from was a bucket list item for me. It was a 16-day cruise. Actually, I think technically 17 days, including the debarkation day. We started out in Seattle, stopped in Mexico, and Costa Rica, where I did another somewhat bucket list item that I'll get into in a minute. But the big item, the big bucket list item for me was going through the Panama Canal. My mother had done this years ago, and always commented on how interesting it was to see how they move ships through the canal. And it truly was quite interesting to see. Technology that has virtually never changed since 1906 when the canal was built. Although they have a newer canal that they've built that was opened in 2017 for some of the bigger new ships. But the original canal, and even the new canal, the technology in that canal is virtually unchanged since the original. Where else can you think of anything with technology involved that has not changed in over 100 years? I can't think of hardly anything. Certainly nothing man-made that has never changed in over 100 years. So for me, that was a bucket list item. And I wanted to bring up bucket list items tonight because I think it's important for us, for our self-esteem, for our feelings of self-worth, to first of all have those items, those goals that we can strive toward. But more importantly, to check those off when we have the opportunity. None of us knows whether tomorrow will come. Tomorrow is not promised. We need to seize that opportunity. We've talked in the past about seizing the moment, carpe diem. This is very similar to that, but in a little more broad fashion, taking advantage of opportunities when they come your way and not letting those opportunities pass. Once again, this cruise in several ways was a bucket list item for me. Perhaps for you, simply going on a cruise. Maybe you've never been on a cruise before. Perhaps that is a bucket list item. Then after the Panama Canal, we stopped in Colombia and then headed up to New Orleans. So for me, the main bucket list item was the canal. A secondary item, I don't know that it was necessarily on my bucket list, but it was certainly a first-time experience, something I'd never done before, and that was ziplining. How many of you have ever ziplined before? You might look at me and say, why would a 62-year-old go ziplining for the first time? It made me think back to a pastor friend of mine that was my pastor when I was growing up. He only had one arm. He had been born with only one arm. And he decided to go bungee jumping. I believe he and his wife were in their late 70s, if I remember correctly, when they went bungee jumping for the first time. And at that time, I was quite a bit younger, and I thought, oh my, why would anyone in their late 70s go bungee jumping for the first time? But honestly, after going ziplining for the first time in my early 60s, I can much more understand that possibility. I still am not sure that I would ever want to go bungee jumping. That one's a little bit out of my comfort zone. Perhaps you've gone bungee jumping. If so, let me know that in the comments. Also, let me know if you're finding value, if you're getting value from this, by dropping the word value or a V in the comments. I'm hoping that this is valuable, that you're finding this valuable. My main message for you tonight, besides sharing a bit of the cruise experience that I had, is to get you to think about your own bucket list items, your own life experiences, items you've checked off, or perhaps items you've not checked off, but you'd like to check off. It's important to us for our self-esteem to take time to think about those items and to check those off our list when we have the opportunity. I do plan to go into some more details about the cruise. my plan is to post some videos and some photos, so stay tuned for those. But I did want to, before the cruise became too much old news, I wanted to jump on and talk about the cruise and about bucket list items. So with that, before I jump off, I do see a few comments here. I'll try to respond to a couple of them. I can tell that my voice is starting to give out, so I'm not going to belabor this too much. Let me just close a couple windows that are blocking some of those comments and see if I can respond to a couple of them. It's like that window's going to go away, so I know I'm going to miss a couple of these. Mr. Darren Walker. Yes, here I am. I'm back again, finally. Thank you for joining me live. It's always a blessing and a pleasure to see you on here with me. Courtney. Thank you, Courtney. Yes, let's go. I'm glad you're finding value from this. And Tennille, all my iconic friends are on here tonight. Let's bungee jump together. We'll see. We'll see, Tennille. I'm not sure whether I'm up to bungee jumping or not, but perhaps. I never thought I would go ziplining, and here we did it. And it was a lot of fun. It was in the rainforest. We were over the top of the trees in the rainforest, and it really was quite an experience. Even for someone with low vision, I was able to see the view from the tops of the trees. I got some very cool video for some of those of you who've been watching me for a while and have seen my glasses that have the AI built into them. I used them like a GoPro and got some very cool video on the zip line. Once I have a chance to edit that, I do plan to post that here on Facebook. So stay tuned. And Courtney, can't wait to see your experiences. Thanks so much, Courtney. I definitely will share those when I have a chance to edit them a little. Yes, the ziplining was certainly amazing. And I will, as I say, I will share some of those videos with you. I know I'm missing a few comments that came in before that first one of Darren's. I will respond to those once I jump off here. With that, I'm not going to belabor things too much here before my voice gives out completely. But I'm glad I was able to jump on here for a little bit. I appreciate you jumping on with me. Let me know if you'd like to be added to my email list. I've got a couple people that have reached out and put the word email in the comments. Drop that word email if you'd like to be added to my email list for some upcoming, more private events that I'm in the process of planning. I'd love to add you to my email list. And I will reach out to you if you drop the word email. I'll reach out privately and get your email address and get you added to that. So with that, as a podcasting friend of mine often says, like if you do, smash that like button, leave me a comment down below, and we will see you in the next episode of the Karey Carbaugh podcast, which, like I say, I hope to do a special episode this weekend, hopefully Saturday around this same time, 8 o'clock Mountain Time, before we do a time change here this weekend. So stay tuned for that on Saturday. With that, I will bid you a fond farewell and a good evening. Make it a blessed day or a blessed week for someone around you by doing something positive and being a blessing to those you come in contact with. Have a great week, and we will talk very soon, hopefully this weekend. Until then, have a great evening. Bye-bye for now.